Okay, now let's continue with the next part, which is on the differences between microeconomics as well as macroeconomics. Okay, so right now I am going to differentiate these two terms in general. Okay, so what you are going to find in microeconomics is basically the individual units or the individual parts of the economy. Okay, so we are focusing on how the individual units behave, or the small units behave in the economy. For example, if we talk about the behavior of consumer, okay, consumer is one of the individual units in the economy. So let's say if we take consumer, okay, a consumer making decision in the economy. Okay, for example, the consumer wants to consume two products, okay, but the consumer has limited income. So what the consumer needs to do is they need to make choices, okay, whether to buy product A or product B. Okay, so that is economic decision made by consumers. But if we are talking about producers, okay, how does producers make choices in the economy? For example, if you have an amount of capital, for example, and you want to make choices whether to produce product A or product B. So you have, if you want to produce more of product A, you have to reduce the production of product B. Or if you want to produce more of product B, so you have to reduce the production of product A. Okay, so that is example of things that we are going to learn in microeconomics. Okay, and how the economic condition will give impact on the decisions made by these individual units. Okay, so that one we will see in the further topics of the subject. Okay, and macroeconomics, okay, we are talking about the whole economic system. Okay, so we are looking at the economy from the point of view of a country, okay, or of a nation. So the things that we consider in macroeconomics are, for example, how does income or national income is generated in an economy. And then we also look at the change, how to calculate the changes, okay, in the economic growth. Okay, and then we are looking at bigger issues, economic issues like unemployment, inflation. Okay, inflation means increase in price level. Okay, and then we are looking at how the government solve the economic issues. So basically in macro, we are looking at a bigger scope of the economy, so more serious lah. Okay, so whatever that you do, or whatever that the government do, okay, will give impact on the whole economy. Whatever that the government decide will give impact on the whole economy. Okay, in micro, if we compare with micro, for example, if you decide what to buy for your lunch, for example, that will not give too much impact on the whole economy. That is micro. Okay, so that will give impact on you yourself as well as producers. Okay, that will only involve consumer and producers. But in macroeconomy, you are going to learn about things that will give issues that will give impact to the whole economy. Alright, so then let's go to the next slide. Okay, which is on positive versus normative analysis, or we can say as positive statement and normative statement. So in economy, you are going to find a lot of terms, a lot of theories. So we are going to understand whether the theory is a positive theory or a normative theory, positive statement or normative statement. Okay, so what do we mean by positive analysis or positive statement? It is to deal with the question of what is. Okay, no indication of approval or disapproval. So we are talking about facts. Okay, cause and effect relationship. For example, okay, I will give you one example of a positive statement. An increase For example, an increase in tax will cause demand to decrease. Okay, that is a positive statement. An increase in tax will cause demand to decrease. Okay, so why do I say that as a positive statement? Because we have cause and then we have the effect. So the cause is the change in tax. Okay, so what will happen if there is an increase in tax? The effect is there will be a decrease in demand. That is the effect. So there are two components, okay, in the statement. The first one is cause and the other one is effect. Okay, so we are talking about the facts. What will definitely happen, okay, if something happen. Okay, or a positive question, for example, if we talk about question, okay, an example of positive question is what will happen to tax, or what will happen to demand if tax decrease. So the answer is like what I said just now. If tax increase, demand will decrease. So those are examples of positive question and positive statement. Okay. Meanwhile, normative analysis or normative statement is to deal with the question of what ought to be, or in other words, we can say what should be. Okay, something that we need to decide, or something that can change. Okay, something that should happen. Okay, for example, if I give you a normative question, okay, an example of normative question is what should the government should the government increase tax on products. Okay, let's say for example in the case of Malaysia we have GST, goods and services tax. So should the government increase GST or not? Okay, so the word should there makes the statement or makes the question as a normative question. Okay, meanwhile for the answer, or for the statement, normative statement, we can say for example, the government should decrease tax on goods and services. Okay, or the government should reduce tax, okay, on goods. Okay, so itu adalah, that is example of normative statement. So the word should there makes it a normative statement or a normative analysis. Okay, so you are going to find a lot of positive statement as well as normative statement as you learn economy. Okay, right, next slide. Okay, now we are going to look at the 3 basic economic concepts, okay, which I have already explained in the beginning of the topic. Okay, so we have the term scarcity, we have the term choice, and opportunity cost. So these 3 are related to each other. Okay, so the first term that I am going to explain is regarding scarcity. So what do we mean by scarcity and how does scarcity happen? Okay, so scarcity is defined as wants exceed limited resources. So the word wants and limited resources we have find in the previous slides. Okay, so wants are unlimited. Okay, we always need something more and more and more. But the resources that we have cannot fulfill all of our wants. Therefore, scarcity exists. Okay, sebab tu wujudnya scarcity. Okay, so scarcity ni dalam bahasa Melayu ni kita boleh kata sebagai kekangan. Okay, kekangan yang kita ada disebabkan sumber kita terhad. Jadi kita tak boleh dapat semua yang kita mahu. Okay, so when one is more than our resources, it means that resources cannot fulfill our wants. Okay, so this is what we call as scarcity, kekangan, sumber. Okay, so scarcity is a universal problem. Every country will face the same problem. Okay, regardless whether the country is an advanced country or lower income country, this problem will always be there. Okay, will always occur. So that's why economy is economy exists in every country. Every country needs economy, needs management of resources. Okay, so how do we make sure that we can fulfill our wants? We need to manage our resources. Okay, so since there is scarcity, we cannot have everything that we want. Therefore, we have to make choices. Okay, so when scarcity exists, choices are to be made. Okay, so you cannot have everything that you want, so you need to make choices. Okay, if you are a consumer, you need to choose whether to buy product A or product B. If you are a producer, you need to make choice in terms of which product to produce more and which product to produce less. Okay, so you always need to make choices regardless of who you are in the economy. And once you have made your choice, there will be opportunity cost. Okay, what do we mean by opportunity cost? It is defined as the second best alternative. Okay, that has to be foregone for another choice which gives more satisfaction. So for example, if you are a consumer, okay, if you are a consumer, so you have to choose whether to buy product A or product B or product C. Okay, so you have to make decision which of these three products will give you more satisfaction, the highest satisfaction. So let's say you choose to buy product A, which is the product that you like the most lah. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to forego product B and product C. So you cannot have product B and product C. Why? Because you have limited resources. So what do we call product B and product C? We call them as the opportunity cost. Okay, the cost that you have, the other products that you have to forego in order for you to get product A. Okay, so B and C are actually the cost that you need to bear in order for you to get the best choice. Okay, which is product A. Okay, now let's look at basic economic problems. Okay, so what are the things that you will face, okay, when you become a producer in an economy? Okay, so these are the three things that you need to know, or you need to ask yourself if you are a producer in an economy. Okay, what are the products that you want to produce? Okay, usually if you are a producer, you will always invent or you will always produce something that is demanded by the people. You will not sell things that that the people doesn't want. Okay, because if you produce a thing, you produce a product and there's no one to buy the product, so there is no point of you producing it. So what you need to do is you need to understand, okay, or you need to know whether the product that you are going to produce will be in high demand or not. Okay, so it refers to the type of goods and services that you want to provide. Okay, so you need to know what product is highly demanded in the market. That is the first thing that you need to know. How to produce? Okay, once you already know what you want to produce, you need to know the technique of production. And of course, in order for the main objective of you as a producer is to gain as much profit as you can. Okay, you always want to maximize your profit. You nak dapat keuntungan yang paling maximum. So what you need to do is you need to decide on which of the technique of production that is the cheapest. Okay, what is the cheapest technique of production? So you have to choose whether you want to use manual way of production, or you want to use advanced method of production. You use good technology and so on. So manual, for example, you use workers, okay, to produce your product. Okay, advanced technique, you can use machineries which requires a lot of capital. Okay, required more funds, required more money. So you have to decide which of the two methods are the best for your production. Okay, so that is how to produce. For whom to produce is basically in terms of the distribution of your product. Okay, meaning who are your target market? Okay, who will benefit from your product. Okay, so these three are very crucial, are a very crucial decision that you have to make if you are a producer in an economy.